I just moved here like 3 months ago.
Well, welcome to the town.
We're
Where'd you move
going
from?
live with you.
I'm
We'll
not
start
selling.
our meeting
Oh,
and then
okay.
turn it over to you for the presentation. And then we'll do the resolution. All right, call to order the regularly scheduled meeting of the Lapel Redevelopment Commission for 11/20/2025. Just realized my thing has the wrong date on the video.
So this is the Palace Redevelopment Commission, and there is nobody here. These are your tax dollars that we're gonna discuss.
Okay, items on the agenda tonight, we have, one claim to pay, and then we have our annual presentation from Vicky at Reedy, on our, financial TIF impact update, and then we have our spending resolution for 2026 to cover. Okay. First item on the agenda is our spending. Pass down a copy of the invoice. Wait a minute here. All right, this invoice is for $241.60. This is for our annual reporting that is required. Payment is to Reedy Financial. $2.5. Yep. Oh, got myself all out of whack. We need to do a roll call.
I'm here.
State your name out loud. Chad Blake.
Richard Hines.
Amanda Paddock.
And we do have Attorney Jeff Graham in attendance tonight.
Well, Teresa's here.
Teresa's not an actual part of this board.
Well, she's an elected official, just so everybody knows.
All right. Pass that back down. So that is our only claim before us. We would entertain a motion to approve the claims as presented.
I'll make a go ahead.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous approval. Everybody sign that as soon as you have a chance. Pass that down. All right, I'm gonna turn it over now to Vicky with Reedy Financial. She is our advisor and she has our presentation. She will go over the data. Vicky, go ahead and speak up. No, hold on, we lost speakerphone. There we go.
So is this a consultant on the
Can
phone?
you hear me okay?
Yes.
Who is this?
Okay, perfect. Like I
This
said,
is-
good evening.
Yeah, introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Vicky Smith with Reedy Financial Group. I know you kind of introduced me already and kind of gave some background information on what we're covering tonight, so I won't take up too much of your time. I will just kind of open by saying that we have prepared the Lapel Redevelopment Commission's 2 final reporting requirements for this year. Those are the 2026 TIF spending plan, a new requirement that was added last year, and of course the annual TIF impact presentation. I think most folks are probably familiar with the annual TIF impact presentation. It does follow the same format that I've presented in meetings for the last few years, but of course I'll go through it all in detail. So if you guys would like to do that one first, we can start with that presentation. So I am on the Town of Lapel Redevelopment Commission TIF Impact Update presentation. And I will go ahead and get started. So if you flip or move on to page 2 of this presentation, at the top it should say reporting requirements. This is just something we like to include, kind of a snapshot of all of the reporting requirements that the RDC has to complete each year. We have all of those checked off. The spending plan is on there. I already have it checked off. Of course, we'll be doing it shortly right after this presentation. And then the final requirement at the end of that list is the TIF impact presentation that we are completing right now. On the following page, we have the inside the RDC page, and this just shows Lapel's tax allocation area and shows your incremental AV for this year, which is just over $6.5 million for 2025.
AV,
Assessed value.
yeah, okay.
Yep. And I can show you in a little more detail. If you go to the next page, this is the fourth page, and it's called How TIF Works. So that number that I just gave you, that $6.5 million, that is, it's kind of a weird color, that kind of teal bluish triangle color on this little graph. That, of course, is your incremental AV. That's how you are collecting your revenues. So it's kind of why we like to show this slide here.
What we have is grayscale.
It's the lightest of the gray.
Okay, so it's labeled the incremental AV goes to the RDC to pay project costs, and it's got that increase going up top. And I won't go over it in too much more detail unless there are questions, but good to know it's in black and white, so I don't reference that anymore.
Where it says end of TIF, the top of that line, is that 6.5 million?
Well, so that would be upon expiration. So this isn't necessarily specific to Lapel Redevelopment Commission's numbers. And you guys haven't issued debt, so we're not looking at expiration anytime soon. But that end of TIF line is showing that if you'll issue debt and then 25 or so years from now your TIF did expire, all of that assessed value, that increment that you all have created, is going to go into the tax base in your community. So that's kind of what that's showing. So the end of TIF, you guys aren't there yet, but that triangle leading up to that is where you are, and that's where you have your $6.5 million.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Hopefully I explained that well.
We don't have $6.5 million. There's just $6.5 million in assessed value in our TIF district.
Correct.
Yes.
Thank you for adding that.
Yes,
In the TIF district.
correct.
Now, does the TIF district include all of the area of Lapel?
Only certain properties within the area of Lapel.
Okay, so that's 6.5 million.
There is,
What's in TIF?
there is a page where it goes into that detail as well,
So the graph on the back's an example.
Yes.
Yes.
It's not us.
that's not us, that's just that's generic graph.
So on that note, we can go ahead and go to the next page. This is the fifth page, and it says financial position. So I'm glad that you made that distinction, Chad, that there's not $6.5 million. That is your kind of your tax base for the Redevelopment Commission, where you have collected based on that increment of that amount. You're not collecting that amount every year. So what we are showing is the projected financial position for 2025. Shows your beginning cash balance. Of course, that is actual data. That is what it is. The revenues are, that is the exact amount that you all should collect. That doesn't account for delinquent taxes or anything like that, but you all should collect that $142,815 in revenues. And then the expenditures, that's a round number because it's a projection as well, and it's a conservative one. We would hope, of course, that you fully collect your revenues and then expect slightly lower amount in expenditures, so that that end of the year balance would be what we're showing here, or hopefully a little bit higher. So again, it's a projection, but this is kind of what we're expecting for year 2025 start to finish.
Thank you.
All right, so then we can go ahead and go to page 6, current projects and future plans. I didn't see too much that was going on this year. I didn't see anything major. So we've not made many updates to this slide. Of course, we certainly can in the future, and we'll stay up to date on anything new that y'all may be pursuing. But for right now, we just have potential things that have kind of been discussed in the past.
All right.
All right, so then, the page after that, we have the TIF impact question. This is trying to explain the chart that I'm about to show you. It's basically saying, what is the TIF impact? This entire presentation, what's the impact to overlapping units? Let's create a scenario where we say, okay, all of this economic development would have happened on its own, which, as we know, normally that's not realistic and that's not the case. But for the sake of this scenario, let's assume all economic development happened on its own. What would the impact be? So the page after that, page 8, the TIF impact chart, this is us using those projections to do our own calculation and say, this is how TIF is being utilized in Lapel to generate additional revenue that otherwise would not be able to be collected. So you can see, and I won't go through each of them specifically, but kind of what we're showing is, of course, assessed value could reduce circuit breaker in some of these areas. Additional assessed value could have impacts on rate-driven funds. But beyond that, as we know, it is never a dollar for dollar impact as far as what an RDC can collect versus what the other units can collect. And of course, the money also has a much stronger impact to you guys when you see things as far as impact as a percent of 2025 budget for some of these units. It's very small. So to give a little bit more detail, I can go to the next page. This is intended to just explain.
Okay, I gotta say
that
something,
chart
just a
in little
minute.
bit more
We
detail.
can't,
That
they're over here having a
142,815
conversation. They don't wanna be involved in
that we
anything.
saw on the previous slide and that we saw on the financial position projection.
So you have
That's
two
the
over here,
total
it's
that
not
we're
interesting
projecting in
what's going
TIF
on.
revenues for
Just wants to talk.
2025. And the amount that's being collected for $43,886 is being collected due to the utilization of TIF. Basically saying the other units would not have been able to collect those funds. So I hope that makes sense. That's kind of the majority of what I've got for you all today as far as the TIF impact presentation. Beyond that, I can answer any questions, and then we've added the definition slide at the end just to kind of go along with some of the charts and hopefully be useful later on.
Okay, so, and I apologize, I thought it was in this presentation. We currently have 4 properties assigned in our current TIF district, correct? Or is it 3?
Let's see here.
We've got the concrete plant, apartment 1, apartment 2, and then there's always a 4th one for some reason I forget.
No, you're good. You're pretty much spot on. So what I'm looking at currently, and I can certainly send more information out later, it's basically from Form 22 from last year, from 2024. So it lists the apartments, and there are 2 parcels that are the apartments, and then there are 2 parcels that are Shelby gravel, and I see 1 that is Shelby materials.
Okay.
Does that sound right to you?
Yep, it used to be the Giving Hope Foundation, and now it's back to Shelby Materials. Okay.
Okay.
So, and for clarification for the folks that are here online, what it is, the entire town of Lapel is designated as our TIF revenue area. Not every property in Lapel, though, is subject to the tax incremental funding.
Chad, if I could.
Let our attorney speak here real quick.
It's spelled out in the definitions, and the terms get thrown around, but it's an economic development area, which is coterminous with the boundaries of the town. And then the allocation area, those are the ones you just talked about before.
Correct.
So it's the allocation area where the TIF is actually generated and captured by the town's redevelopment commission. But the entire town is an economic development area. The reason this town, when it was created back in 2018, made the whole town the economic development area, I think you were around when that happened, was that we don't know exactly where that's going to be. If part of the town is not designated as that economic development area, you can't do TIF, period. But by putting having the whole town be that, then you never have to ask that question, make those determinations. Anywhere that you want TIF, you can have it as long as it's in the boundaries.
All right.
All right, perfect.
So this adds to
Okay.
property taxes, is that?
No, hold on, I have a question here in the crowd. So no, this does not add to property taxes. What this does is, let's say someone has a piece of farmland. Farmland, I think, has let's call it, we're gonna make up numbers, $10,000 an acre value. You hear a lot of talk these days about somebody wanting to build a data center. So if somebody comes in and builds a data center on farmland, that farmland is no longer worth $10,000, it's worth $10 million. So tax incremental funding freezes that rate for all other taxing entities except for the TIF district. So on that little pie chart that you see there, or pie chart isn't a graph, that graph, the darker gray at the bottom that runs consistently all the way across.
The triangle?
Yep, under
No,
the triangle where it says base AV. That money stays the same for every unit. So the county, the township, the schools, all of those things, they will maintain and receive, they'll maintain and receive the same amount of taxes from that property. But once it is allocated as a TIF district, the additional value, that money will come to the town of Lapel for if we take debt out, a 25-year period. And then that money is typically used to fund utilities, things like that, to enable the additional growth of the TIF district.
So this is, so the property's like assessed value and tax. This is about the distribution of that. It's not
Of the
affecting the
additional
tax,
value.
but now that it's valued higher. So it's like take some kind of snapshot and all the other
Yep.
receivers of that tax money, they'll
Get the same.
amount.
And then we get additional money to help fund things. And the goal is that the additional valuation helps fund things so that property taxes and other things don't go up to fund those. Now, because this just started for us in 2018, our balance is very low and there's not a lot of money to do things with. So we can take on small projects. We funded park studies and several other things over the years, but so our projected end of the year balance is $443,000. Compare that to a Carmel where their tax revenue at the end of the year may be somewhere closer to, 400 million or some kind of crazy number because they've tipped everything in the world over there.
So is this meeting about how to allocate that money or?
No, this is just the annual final report that is required by the state.
Reporting requirement.
Yep. All right, there's no other questions. We'll let Vicky wrap up and then we will go on to our resolution for 2026.
Yep, that's perfect. I've got nothing else. Like you said, I'm happy to answer questions, but there's nothing else on my end. So if there are no other questions, then I can go ahead and go over the 2026 TIF spending plan with that resolution along as well.
Okay, go for it.
All right, so shifting over to that, it's a 7-page document. Page 1 is that 2026 Lapel Redevelopment Commission spending plan. That's the title just over the letter that will go along with this document when it is uploaded to Gateway. And then after that is really the main part of this document, main thing that will go along with the resolution. It is labeled Lapel RDC 2026 TIF Spending Plan Exhibit A. And this is your, page 2 with the breakdown of spending categories and spending amounts for 2026. The total spending at the bottom is $265,000 right now. I want to point out that this is a new requirement that was created last year. And our goal with this document tonight is not that we are recommending spending these amounts, not even necessarily projecting these spending amounts on Lapel RDC's TIF financial plan, but that we have identified places you would be most likely to spend. We're trying to keep those categories flexible so that you have the ability to pursue projects if anything does come up. So if you do know of any major projects that you thought were going to come in other categories or exceed any of these amounts, we would need to, potentially amend this. So I want to make sure that I'm on the same page, I'm not missing anything. But we've tried to make sure that it's flexible so that this doesn't ever need to be redone in 2026. That being said, it would be the exact same process and it would be very simple to just amend this Exhibit A and redo it in 2026 if there were any major opportunities that came available. So this is mainly the page that will be adopted tonight if the RDC feels that this is flexible to what they need in 2026. And then I can show you guys or I can, cover pages 3 through 5. All of this follows what was released by the DLGF in August of 2024 and follows all of their guidance. So pages 3 through 5 are just defining all of those categories A through O as they've listed. And then the final 2 pages are the memorandum from August of 2024 that also just kind of highlights all of their guidance on this new requirement. So it does align with their guidance on what they're expecting for this reporting requirement to maintain compliance. And again, our goal is not recommending spending these amounts, but ensuring that the RDC has flexibility on that Exhibit A. And then beyond that, if the RDC chooses to adopt this amount, that's where you have your resolution adopting Exhibit A for 2026 if you choose to move forward.
Question. What exactly is, or well, maybe not exactly, but generally, what is the new reporting requirement?
So this reporting requirement is it's required to submit a TIF spending plan by December 1st of each year. They released the memo that's at the end of this document in August as of last year. So it is very new, but you are required to submit maximum amounts and saying, based on the information that we have right now, we're not expecting to spend over these amounts in each category.
So this whole report is the new requirement.
This page right here,
Okay.
Exhibit A. Basically, they said, we have to be able to, we have to say, we, based on our discussions, projects we may want to undertake, we have to set an amount in each of those categories if we plan to spend it, and we have to do that before the year begins. So, and, we have never spent, as a board since our beginning in 2018, anywhere near that amount, but with projects and things that are going on, it gives us the opportunity as things happen and change in the town, whether it be, assisting with sewer design, any of those things that could come up, we have the ability to take care of them within the categories that are selected on this exhibit.
Correct, yes.
All right. So basically next, we have the resolution, and what this says is the resolution of the Lapel Redevelopment Commission determining the annual spending plan for calendar year 2026. And it goes through what Vicki just described there, that we're required to establish this. Unanticipated opportunities, we may have to adjust that schedule or unanticipated economic development appropriate for us to make expenditures not anticipated by the spending plan. We would just have to vote to approve that. So, any questions? I do not have a resolution number. I'll have to go back and research. I know it's very low. This may be 2 or 3 for us for the year. I would make a motion to approve this resolution, as yet to be numbered, as presented with Exhibit A from the spending plan submitted by Reedy Financial.
I'll second.
And since this one's an important one, we will need an individual vote. Roll call vote.
Amanda Paddock, yes.
Chad Blakes. All right. I think that's everything, Vicki. Thank you very much for your help and your knowledge on this. And I think we're all set then.
Okay, wonderful. And yes, thank you guys so much. I always appreciate the opportunity to participate in the meetings. It's always a pleasure.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks so much.
Thank
Take
you,
care.
Vicki. Yeah. All right, with nothing else on our agenda tonight, our next regularly scheduled meeting will be December 18th at this location at 6 p.m. With nothing else, I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you, everybody.
So council meeting will start at 7, that's in about 30 minutes. So I will be back online for that at 7 o'clock.